make about 45 million pounds of chips in a quarter. That equates to about 200 million pounds of potatoes, which is quite a few. What's interesting with M&T is they're a small town bank, and as we've grown, they've also grown with us. They've got the resources that you would need in order to go big, but they also have that friendly local community feel so that it makes it seem easier than it probably is.
Hello, and welcome to Candidates Up Front. This series of interviews with candidates for the November 3rd general election is brought to you by Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. Both organizations are nonpartisan. That means they never support candidates or political parties. And both organizations consider it their mission to provide voters with information for each election. I'm Renee Dietrich, a member of the League, and I will be your moderator tonight. First, if you're not registered to vote, please go to votespa.com to register. Votespa.com is in both English and Spanish. You have until October 19th to register, but the smart thing is do it now. And if you do not want to stand in line on Election Day, apply for a mail-in ballot. Again, go to votespa.com and do it now. When your ballot arrives, mail it right away. That way we can help our Berks County Elections Office handle this election as smoothly as possible. Now, if you want to vote in person, go to your polling place on Election Day. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. This year, we will vote for Pennsylvania Attorney General, Auditor General, and Treasurer. We will also elect representatives of the U.S. Congress to the Pennsylvania Senate and the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. The League and BCTV invited all the statewide candidates to be interviewed, and some did decline. Those who agreed will be asked the same questions in the same order with the same time limits as others running for the same office. These interviews will be available on BCTV's webpage and YouTube channel. If you watch the interviews of two competing candidates, you can compare their answers to make your decision on how you will vote. This interview is for the Pennsylvania House of Representatives in the 127th District. And there's the map, and you can see where the 127th District is. This district is most of Reading and the northern, eastern, and western suburbs. State representatives serve 2-year terms in the state legislature in Harrisburg. They initiate legislation and vote to create laws. They pass the budget, including taxes and expenditures of the state. They offer help about state government to constituents in their district. The salary is $88,610 per year, plus benefits and expenses. The two candidates for the 127th District are Manny Guzman, Democrat, and Vincent Gagliardi, Republican. This is an open seat. That means there's no incumbent. And this interview is with Mr. Gagliardi. Welcome to this program.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for having us here and informing the voters of Reading and Berks.
Okay, so let's start out by asking you, why do you want to be a state representative, and what are your qualifications for the position?
Well, if you're watching this program, then you're concerned, as well as I am, with what's going on in the community. I've been elected official in the past. I was a Reading City Councilman in back in '99, 2000 era, and got a lot of accomplishments done back then when I was on. A vacancy occurred in the Kenhurst borough, and the Kenhurst mayor came to me and asked if I would be interested in serving as a councilman to help them out as well. So I was appointed as a Kenhurst councilman. I didn't have to run for election for it. I'm just serving, filling in for a vacant seat that was there, helping them out. And we got some good things happening there with the playground and updating the Kenhurst playground and stuff. But as a Reading City Councilman, I got numerous things done. We were part of the council that got the Santander Arena built and the naming rights for the Reading Phillies and brought the fire service into the city.
Thank you. Now, when you're elected, if you're elected, what are the 3 most important things you want to accomplish?
Oh, that's a toughie there. They always told me that. Put 3 things down. I couldn't. On my flyers that I've been passing out to people, there's 12. Am I going to get all 12 done? No. An important issue with me is taxes, to eliminate the school property taxes and relook at the property taxes within the entire state. Another one is business growth. We need to have business growth in a community to help it thrive. A community does much better off with more businesses there because you're bringing in more revenue, you have more jobs available, and it's just more people coming into the city or being in the city and doing positive things with the community. Another stickler with me, and some people like it, and the elected officials will not. I believe in term limits. Term limits is a big part for me.
Okay, COVID is a big thing this year. So what do you think about the state management of COVID-19?
I think the governor did a very poor job with the way he handled the COVID situation. He talked to no local leaders. He didn't talk to any of the legislators, the Senate, no one. He decided who could be open and who could be closed with no real just cause for any one of them. You have to wear a mask to go in a restaurant, but when you sit down, it's okay. You can take it off. You can have a beer in a bar up to 10 o'clock, but after 10 o'clock, you might get COVID. I mean, it's just some of the way he handled it is just wrong. He should have dealt with local authorities and elected officials and just followed the chain of command down and had a big meeting and decided what should be done and what would be the best way to handle it and how to fund local businesses that are closing, because we're losing a lot. A lot of friends of mine are closing. Thank you.
Do you think that the COVID action has a greater impact on women and minorities?
I don't think a virus or a disease will sort out any race, sex, or color, or anything like that. It's a disease that's going around, and how does that know how to choose a person? It really, I don't think it can. It's all in a matter of how you handle yourself through life with cleanliness and being cautious and different stuff like that. I myself have not worn a mask since this thing has started, except where I have to. And I deal with hundreds of people every day. I'm not sick. I don't know anyone that got sick. I'm one of the lucky ones that way. I was fortunate. Other people are not.
Thank you. Now, there's currently no county health department in Berks. Do we need one? And then should it be paid for by the state government?
Well, when you say health department, I'm not really sure what you mean. We have hospitals. We have clinics. To have a health department, I would have to see what all that entails before I could make a decision on that, and see if other communities have it as well, and see what the impact is in the other communities that do have it before I would say that we need one here.
Okay. Let's talk about elections for a minute. Following the census, our state legislators will redraw district lines for state and federal offices. This has led to gerrymandering, districts that favor one party over another. Do you think that's fair to voters? And if not, what would you do to give voters fair districts?
Well, everything should be done fairly. Like I said, we're in a Reading and Kenhurst is a heavily Democratic area. I think it's 80% Democrat versus maybe 20% Republican, with a little bit in there for your independents and all the other parties. It's not fair. It should be as close as possible, and it shouldn't. Maybe the legislators have the final say on it, but an independent study should be able to come up with drawing the lines and recommend to the legislator that this should be the district lines. Also, I believe there's way too many legislators. We should be able to cut that down. Pennsylvania, I think, is like the second highest with legislators in there. We only have 50 senators, but we have like 203 legislators. Cut it in half, double the size of the districts. And that'll be easier to draw lines and make things more fair.
Okay. Small business is important to Berks County's economy. Will you favor additional state funds to help some of these small businesses survive the pandemic?
We need to do everything we can to keep these businesses afloat. I know of a few businesses that it's too late for them, and it breaks my heart. I know a couple businesses that they're family-owned businesses, and they're not going to make it through this. And it's such a rotten feeling that I get because I know these people, and there's nothing that I can do with where I am now to help them. We need to find additional funding and help them. And if some of them do close, do more to get them back open. It's business growth is an imperative thing for every community to thrive. Without business, there's no jobs. Without jobs, what do we got? Everybody on welfare? That's not going to last long.
Okay. Now, there are some people who are looking at evictions and homelessness during the pandemic. What should be done to prevent evictions and address homelessness?
I would have to sit down with I just delivered food to the Hope Rescue Mission the other week, and then we were, me and the woman running for Senate, Annette, we were on Penn Street the other day feeding the homeless, and we have to do more to help people that are having a problem, that are addicted to drugs and the homelessness. We need to have clinics for them. We need to help them to be back into the community, to help them get back on their feet. Because if we can get them back on their feet, they're no longer dependent on the government, and they'll be productive for us, and they'll help other people. And if state funding is available, and I'll have to search for it, and we're going to need to put these things together to help people, because when you're down and out, it's a rotten feeling. It's terrible, but when you're helped out, it's such a wonderful feeling.
Okay. Now, do you support raising the minimum wage, and what should that be?
There's been a lot of talk with the minimum wage. It's one of my topics on here, on my flyer that I've been passing out. Minimum wage does need to be increased. We're far behind the states that are surrounding us, and we lose residents. We lose people to other jobs in other states because of that. $15 an hour, that's what the Democrats are proposing. You will ruin business that way. If a business wants to pay someone a $15 minimum wage, they can do that. Minimum wage was designed for children that are in school, high school kids, to go out and get a job, to learn what it's like to go to work, it's a stepping stone. That's what minimum wage is. It's not supposed to be a sustaining wage. $10 an hour is where I'm at, and that should be a sufficient minimum because businesses can pay more. There's nothing that says they can't pay more. It's just this is what you have to pay.
Infrastructure in Pennsylvania is crumbling in many ways. What is your plan to address crumbling infrastructure in the state?
There's a lot being done now with numerous bridges and roadways. The Schuylkill Avenue Bridge has been done. The Buttonwood Street Bridge has been done. The Penn Street Bridge is finally done. Just the other day, I saw the trucks over on the Binghamton Street Bridge. They were looking at going over the side and looking at the structure underneath and seeing how well the Binghamton Street was, along with our roadways. When the crews go out and fix the roadways, they have to. I think they're going to have to take a little bit more time and start doing them a little more properly and take care of that because those quick patch jobs only last for a short amount of time. And the utilities underneath our streets, UGI is working on that. When UGI does their work, the water department is notified for them to do theirs, and the sewers are looking at them. It's a massive task to get everything done, but it is being worked on, and we're going to continue it.
Thank you. Agriculture accounts for about half of Berks County's economy, and our local farmers are adapting as much as possible to changes in the climate. Do you think the state should do more to address climate change to protect local agriculture? And if so, what should the state do?
I don't know much about agriculture. I know my parents had a farm, and I used to bale hay. That's about it. We need to help our farmers and our local growers and try and get our stores to buy more produce from them. As far as the climate with it changing and stuff, I don't believe I really can control what God is doing with the climate. But farmland is a vital part. We're buying way too much food from out of the country and out of the state. Pennsylvania has great farmers, and we can produce so much here, and we need to help them. We need to sit down with the farmers and talk to them and ask them what they need and what can we do for you, and understand that.
Okay. Now let's talk about justice for a bit here. Pennsylvania has passed bills to help root out rogue police. Would we be better off if we separated crime fighting from social service functions?
The police. On my flyer here, I'm a pro-police person. I've dealt with the Reading police for over 45 years. Out of all of those police, you could probably count on one hand of an officer that might be questionable. Our police officers in Reading are wonderful people. They not only protect and serve you when there's a mental issue that comes up. There's police officers that are trained to calm the situation down and get everything peaceful again. There is no way I would even think about defunding our police. Our police in Reading are way underpaid and way overworked. We need more police in Reading, and we need better wages for them. And that probably is true throughout the whole state. There's no way on my watch we would defund police.
Okay, as a legislator and lawmaker, what would your role be to reduce violence in our communities?
Say that again.
What would your role be as a legislator and lawmaker to reduce violence in our communities?
Reduce violence, we would have to start getting the locals officials and the court systems to start prosecuting people the way they're supposed to be and stop slapping people on the wrist. If you're a violent criminal, you deserve real time, and you deserve to have everything that is thrown at you given to you. It's simple. Follow the law and you won't have a problem. If you break the law, you're going to have a problem. Just do things the way it is. That's why the law was created, because in the past there was problems. So don't break the law and you won't have a problem, and everybody's going to be happy that way. When you're being arrested, don't resist. If you don't resist, the outcome of it is going to be a lot better, and probably your sentence is going to be a lot less. Our police are people just like you and me, and if you're going to be arrested, it's going to happen. Just go with it, and everything will be sorted out a lot better and more peacefully.
Okay, now let's talk about public schools and funding. There are inequities in funding of public schools. Schools in rich codes thrive, those in poor zip codes struggle. What could you do as a legislator to provide every child in Pennsylvania a quality education?
I believe that people should have the right to choose their school. We should be able to fund schools equally. And that's not happening throughout all of Berks County. I mean, you can go to one school and they're getting a lot of funding, and then come into another school and they're not getting quite as much. Every school should be funded equally as far as the per kid that is going there. And that way, what they do with the money is going to be on them. But the parents should still have a chance, or a choice, I should say, to choose where they want their child to go for the best education for them. We need to bring trades back into school. Teach kids how to learn a job. Teach kids about life. Teach them what a mortgage is. Teach them what bills are. That way, when they get out of school, they're already ready
Thank you.
for life.
We know people don't like taxes. So in this time of increasing disparity between incomes of the well-to-do and the poor, is a flat income tax, which we have in Pennsylvania, still appropriate, and why?
Well, are we talking about property tax or
No, we're talking about income tax.
income tax? We're talking about income tax. So if the rate is, I'm just going to throw a number out there. Say the rate's 8% on your income tax. We're just using that. If it's fair for a man that's poor, it's the same thing as for a man that is more knowledgeable and has done something and has grown a business and paying the same thing. Because as he's grown that business and works hard, and everybody should be an equal. There shouldn't be a distinguish between poor and rich. Everybody should pay the same thing. That's how I look at it.
You don't think a graduated income tax would be appropriate?
A what?
A graduated tax?
It's something to look at, but I'm more, I want I'm an equal opportunity person. Equal, everything fair. What's good for John is good for Joe. And whether John is poor and Joe is rich should not matter. Everything should be done equally.
Now, the next budget for the state and for the county will be very tight because of COVID-19. Where would you cut, and what do you think the services are that are essential?
That's going to be a tough one for all the legislators and all the elected officials that get into office next. That's going to be part of the biggest problem to solve for the next group coming in of elected officials. Where to cut? As I said, I'd like to do away with half the legislators. And that's going to save millions of dollars. Services, I don't think we can cut services because they're all needed. When we look at the school property tax, maybe we'll be able to use, when we eliminate that, maybe we'll be able to use some of the sales tax that we increase to cover that towards helping towards that. But we are going to have such a humongous task as legislators, and senators are going to have to sit down together and figure out what to do. Maybe we won't be able to buy vehicles, update the vehicles for a while.
let's touch on the environment. Pennsylvania has a lot of fossil fuels. Should Pennsylvania decrease the use of fossil fuels and carbon emissions? And if so, how?
Well, in Reading and Berks, we have emissions. We don't have that throughout the whole state. Maybe if it's, in this area of the county, we should have it in other counties as well. That would help reduce a lot of the emissions.
What would be a reasonable time frame to reduce emissions?
Reasonable? I don't think nobody has that answer. I would say we start with a plan, and if it's not showing any progress within 3 years, then we have to look at other options.
Okay. Now, do you believe the fracking industry has caused environmental damage, and should they be fined, and how much?
I don't think the fracking industry has caused a lot of damage. I mean, look at the electric cars. What it takes to build a battery for that electric car is causing more damage than the fumes that are coming out of a regular gasoline car. So that's as much as I can tell you on that without getting into it on the time frame we have.
Okay, now we're coming to the end here, so how about giving us a closing statement? 1 minute, please.
Okay. Let's see what I can come up with. I jotted down a couple things, and maybe we can do it. We as the people of this community must learn to do better, to respect each other, and to enhance our own community first and expand from that. My entire life and career was about solving difficult problems and situations that arose on a daily basis. I have always had to work with what I have to achieve a positive ending. I have done this with my employment and my life, and I can do the same for our community. I'm asking for your help this November. It is time to look at the best candidate possible for our community. Party lines should not be an issue. The right candidate is the right answer. I believe in running a fair race, as I did in the primary. But the last time that I ran, the other side twisted the truth, told some lies. If you want to know something, call me, ask me. I'll explain the truth and the facts and everything about it. Thank you very much.
Remember to vote on November 3rd in the general election. And thank you very much, Mr. Gagliardo, for talking to us today.
Thank you for having us here.